everybody. Good morning, afternoon, evening, or wherever you are in the part of the world that you exist in, right? We're over here in wonderful Central America time, having a great time. Uh, Captain Awesome and I have already began talking about today's topic for this episode, and we have some very strong opinions about our train of thought for today. So we're going to get right into it. This is our second episode together with Mr. Awesome over here. And before I get into that, why don't you say hello to the people, buddy?
Hello, people. Captain Awesome's keeping it real, getting some new gains. So things are doing really well. And Mr. Locker Room, you hitting some new gains over there too? In
I
the leg,
am.
in the leg area. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, sir. Because we don't skip that. We don't skip leg day over here, right? We don't skip leg day over here. So that's what we do here in the locker room culture. We do it. We've adopted a new saying that locker room men always do it better.
Mm-hmm.
Always, right?
Yeah. Glute dimples and all.
Yes, yes. Especially trying to get into and being inducted into the Dimple Club, right? So
Got to work on that cake, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We definitely have to do that. Yeah, and well, I don't really need to because being a black man. Okay, I know this isn't a part of the episode, but since you
Are you gonna
brought it
pull out
up,
your card?
I'm
You're
not pulling out my card. No, not pulling out my card. This is a family safe environment. I see what you did there. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna put that over here, right? It's pause right here. So, but being a black man, genetic wise, I don't need to work on legs, right? I don't need to work on cake. I have to work on make sure that it's not this huge freaking pound cake. I want to have the subtle, like give me a little small cake that has the dimples, right? So
Mhm.
he for those of you all who don't know the banter, right? He always rides me on leg day. He always rides me about doing legs and all that other stuff because
I can't stress enough, people. I just want to make sure he doesn't get low T because if you skip leg day, you're going to be missing out on your testosterone for you men out there. So just, I can't stress enough. You got to get the legs on, you know, press hard.
yeah, yeah. And then also too, you talked about men specifically who don't do leg day aren't
Hmm.
really social or they don't have a lot of friends or a lot of what did you say? You don't
Yeah,
have
it was a study. It wasn't something I came up with. It was a study that they had found that guys that typically skip leg day are also like antisocial. So
mm,
there's a lot of drawbacks to it. So get out there, be sociable, work on your legs, and then you'll increase your testosterone. You probably won't even need to be popping yourself full of pills. It's all about eating right too. Make sure you get your diet and your sleep and work on your legs. And then you can start focusing on your arms too.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Don't. I saw what you did there. I saw what you did there. You thought I wasn't going to catch that. You thought I wasn't going to catch. So it's like so. Captain Awesome over here has some of the most ridiculous biceps I have ever seen. Right. So he's just trying to slide that in, like yeah, and then you can eventually work on your arms because he's trying to take jabs at me in my arms, right? But I have nice arms. See, look, you see this? This
I
is
like
called
that
a
definition. Yep.
I know. I've been working out, bro. Don't come at me. Don't
Yep.
come at me on my own platform, my guy. So let's keep it moving. So the title of our episode today is Peace Proposals and Placeholders, right? What are men really chasing? Right. So let's just get right into it. So so Captain, are you chasing peace? Or just looking for a prettier placeholder because
Not chasing any of these.
well because because sometimes what a lot of people call love is just a dressed up distraction from them facing themselves or dealing with their own silence, right? No.
No, I mean,
Well, what would you say?
well, the reason why I'm not chasing peace is because I already have peace. So, it's I think that's something that's really hard for people to find within themselves. There's so much noise around us. Proposals, can you elaborate on that? Because I don't see guys going around. I can't wait to propose to, you know, this woman or that woman. I mean, I could be wrong. I think, first, and I've said this before, men need to be chasing a foundation before they be chasing proposals. Get
Mm.
your house in order, get yourself in order. Because I'd be really terrified if there's guys out there there's that's one of the top three if they don't have their house in order. That's a scary thought.
No, 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 you're right.
Placeholder, I'm going to need you to elaborate on that because when I think of that, and I try to think as a, forgive me for using this term, but a typical guy's mindset from maybe a woman's perspective and from other guys, but I'm thinking like there's some guys out there that maybe lack self-worth and they just kind of like go after any woman that gives them the time of day
Mm, mm.
and they just kind of get caught in this like this weird comfort zone that doesn't like push them to grow, but just kind of like, oh, we have this commonality, if you will, between us. So we kind of sync up, but then they're kind of stuck.
Mm, mhm.
And that just kind of seems like that placeholder in a sense, like, yeah, there's something missing in my life. I didn't have a woman, so let me just bring her in. Do you agree with me on that, or you have some insight on
That's
your term?
no, 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 no. That's a really valid point. Not because you just said it, but because I've actually been involved with conversations with men, not just American men, right? This is not just a U.S. thing. This isn't just the United States things. This is a something that I have encountered across the spectrum of the XY chromosome field, right? You know, all the guys that I've talked to, there's been some level of this type of talk of what you just said, because it's like when when you're out using ourselves for example, right? We're building something that is going to last way beyond you or I, right? You're building it for yourself or for the legacy that you want to leave, and then I'm building for myself for the legacy that I want to leave. But we both know that it takes a very special woman to be able to come into that, right? Not disrupt it, not um, change it in the sense that it's going to take off course. And we're not willing to settle for just comfort, right? Or we're not willing to just settle and give in to the fact that, I really would like to have this type of companionship or friendship, but what is it really going to cost me, right? The priority that we're focusing on, we see the bigger picture and we have developed the discipline through constantly facing what might pull us away. We've said no enough to things that we really wanted but didn't really need at the time that was going to destroy all of that effort and building to be able to see it for what it is and say, this may be a good temporary fix, but long term, it would be destructive. So
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Well,
saying?
what I was gonna say is like when I just think about it, I kind of picture this as like if this is on a board, piece, proposals, placeholders, and all I see is the noise, right?
Mm,
So if I'm chasing my piece, if you will, I'm getting myself disciplined. All right, I'm chasing that, I'm trying to block it out. I'm trying to get financially, stronger, healthier, uh, mentally, physically, financially. And then I'm thinking about, well, what's missing in my life? I could probably use, a strong woman next to my side that, also values growth. Um, Thinking about wedding bells in the future and setting goals, I can kind of get that. And then I have that placeholder, but all the commonality with it is just this noise in this world with the distractions of Instagram and video games and just things that guys get themselves, these little small distractions from time to time that really can set you off course to where you won't have any of what you're looking for. You have to be so honed in on your piece that if you're not disciplined enough with what your ideal woman's going to look like, And I'm not talking about physics because, I mean, we're all going to age, we're all going to die. That's just the facts of life. You need to really get down to the micro level of like, what is that woman going to be to help you be strong as a man for her? And what is that woman going to look like to help you become strong as a man? And then for you guys to have peace, not to have these battles. And if they're battles, they need to be battles of growth.
Hmm. I wasn't ready for the depth, bro. No,
I mean, do you not see that though? It's
no,
like
no, no, no.
a lot of ways because I can see how a guy can get lonely when they search for peace. Like I get a lot of I wouldn't say criticism. I get a lot of like question marks, like how do you do that? And I've heard that too with like guys in the gym that are like for 8 hours. And what's common usually like with a guy that's, pursuing his goals that are really hardcore like that, they're single because you can't juggle the gym life for 8 hours and then the food that you got to take to build the muscle because typically that doesn't work out. Typically, you'll find guys don't have successful relationships when they're putting that much time into it. So you really got to balance that out. And I'm not saying that a woman's noise by any means. I'm saying that the social world and what we have conditioned as the norm can be very distracting. So, guys, I mean, I'm telling you, as I said on the last episode, you got to set out those goals and you really got to write them down. You really got to look at it and you got to be comfortable. And I'm sure you've heard it too in books. If you guys are all about self-development too, you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And sometimes you're going to feel in like that rut. Life is going to rock you a little bit. And maybe that one girl that doesn't really meet all the little check boxes and you start compromising with yourself, it's the same thing. You start compromising your diet and maybe not like exercising this particular day, it's all going to catch up. All those small little details will add up over time. And then you're going to find out that that compromise for that woman, that placeholder, end up not being the right choice. You guys got to be so much more disciplined and focused because I can't stress enough the right woman is going to be, it can make or break you for your future.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot to digest, bro. Not just saying that I haven't. I'm not. I'm on the same page with you. And just to give further clarification, is that a relationship isn't a distraction when it's not a distraction, right? So a lot of times, just so that everybody who's listening can get a very clear. Put this is my point of clarification, right? Because I know exactly what you're talking about because I'm a very, very affectionate person, right? And a lot of times that energy doesn't have an outlet, right? So yeah, I spend a lot of time at the gym. I spend a lot of time focusing on the different work that I have to do, not to be busy, right? Not just to busy myself and distract myself, but because that's what I have in front of me. That does not mean that the other side goes away, right? So it's like there's a very thin line with allowing yourself to be distracted for some type of temporary metaphorical parable release of sorts, or are you really dialed in and saying, okay, if I'm going to pursue this truly out, if I'm going to begin to go after a relationship with a woman or female, or in pursuit, you know me, if I'm doing that, I'm looking for a wife, somebody that can come alongside with me and participate in this, and we build together. So my whole focus is like, okay, if they don't line up with wife material, I'm not even going to put myself in a place to go and have some type of playground, right? I'm not even going to do it because instant distraction, instant domino effect, right? But if I know that that's something I'm pursuing, if there's somebody out there that's trying to pursue that as well, and then what you do is you begin to start to carve out what that space looks like. You start to make that space in a way that is not compromising because the world tells you it's this or that. And I disagree with that. You know that I've never been somebody that says I pick this over that. I'm like, no, if you're giving me choices, that means that both are available. I'm gonna figure out how to have both. not one or the other, because it might take a little bit more time. It might take a little bit more research. It might make me a lot more uncomfortable, but I know that there's a way to have both.
I'm going to say there's 24 hours in the day. We all have it. And there's some women out there too that could be a rate. I'd say look for the red flags, if you will. They're eh, I'm not trying to bash, social media, but I mean,
No, no, no. Say
it,
what you say. Go ahead and say
well, I
it.
mean, it's just this day and age, we're finding that, studies are looking at we got more anxious people than
Mhm,
ever. We got depression at a higher level.
mhm.
Um, we got the attachment theory that's come out. If some of you haven't heard about that, and if you have to like, I guess what I'm getting at is that when you're trying to pursue a new relationship, it takes time. And, I know we had a lot to cover on the first episode, but, I also stress that you should also be with someone at least or know about them for 18 months before you even consider being serious. Like it takes on average 18 months for you really to know someone. So for the listeners out there, think about all your relationships and think about, man, if I didn't rush into this relationship, you know, before the 18 months, how much time would I save myself? Just kind of think about that and then tell me if I'm wrong or right. But I guarantee you, a lot of marriages that have jumped in like within a year typically don't play out. Not that a lot of them do, because we have it at 53, 54% in America at least. But that doesn't have anything to do with a lot of that too. But going back to what Josh was, Mr. Locker Room was talking about is what are we looking for, in the woman? You had mentioned that too, is like, what does that look like? Because, for someone like Mr. Locker Room who has a lot of balls to juggle in his day-to-day life, just like we all do, what does that look like, on a family life? So for some of you guys out there that are thinking about fatherhood, what is that? I mean, again, it's not just about the woman. And I've also have said too, like, when you're thinking about a woman, think about what that woman looks like as the mother of your child. I think that a lot of guys, they put a lot of aesthetics into, you know, a woman and not really about how is she going to look like as a mother. Because there's a lot of like beautiful women out there, but they are not mother qualities at all. And we're starting to disconnect too. I mean, how many times we've gone to restaurants and you see the woman and the man, father and mother, and they're at a dinner table and the child has a screen right in front of them. Like that doesn't look like parenting anymore, Like, and it's a two-way street. And I'm not saying that women are to blame. I'm just saying that we really need to get down to the nitty-gritty, look within ourselves before we can start looking outside and seeing what that ideal woman's going to look like. And for the guys out there that want a lot of goals, that's fine, but you're also going to have to understand the woman that you're looking for is going to have to be willing to accept that and make you stronger on accomplishing those goals, respecting you, and you respecting her, of course, as well.
I'm going to take this time right now and address the women who are looking. Just keep in mind that this is not a jab at you all, right? This is not a jab at you all. Just want to make sure that you all understand the mission and purpose of the locker room, right? This is to help men find that support, find that place to not only just open up, but to relax and chill and to actually show up, right? To show up fully, right? This is our space. You're coming in to our territory, right? Because you got the view, you got Oprah, right? You got all of those red table talks and everything like this. This is our space to where we can talk it out, right? Not with judgment or anything like that. Sharing our thoughts out here in the open, just like anything, but it's not locker room chat like how most society would do it. It's a different type of locker room chat to where we're really thinking and talking out loud. So we're not taking jabs at you, right? And this is probably a good way for you to understand how real men think. What are we really thinking about? Because we're not just out here, not all of us is out here trying to get in your pants. Not all of us is just trying to treat you like some type of tool, right? We have very clear goals, very clear paths, and we are not afraid to talk about it and share it, coming with that emotional intelligence and ethical intelligence of when and how to deliver it if we need to. So, thank you for coming. We are keeping this a safe environment for the guys and also for anybody that wants to come and talk. This is a place where you can bring the family, have a little sit down, let's chit chat, right? But right now, the fellas are talking, right? So I just wanted to make sure that we were clear on that because y'all got all the social media. Y'all got all the networks. Y'all got J Hood. I used to have Rosie O'Donnell, so y'all have all the talk shows, right? We don't have any talk shows. We don't have no space. So this for us, right? So thank you for showing up. You really said a lot there. And it's not just about the woman coming into what the man is doing, right? We are not saying that she abandons her goals. That's not what we're saying at all. Those goals align with the man, right? There's an alignment there. That means that they're building together. She's going and building, he's going and building, and that building comes into this great empire. And that's what we're talking about. We're not saying that she has to drop all what she's doing and come out over here. That's not what we're saying at all. Because that's not equity in the relationship, right? She's bringing something to the table and not expecting the table be made just for her. There's a big difference.
Yeah, and typically men should be pursuing the woman that they want. I'm starting to notice that there's an odd trend where women are putting themselves out, and I applaud that. That's courage, but I'm going back to men need to recapture their man card, and show a sense of courage. And I think a lot of times, whether you're a woman or a guy, and you're kind of looking at a couple and you're like, man, how did that man land that woman? It's because he had courage. I guarantee you, he stepped up and said, hey, I find you incredibly intelligent. I'd love to, take you out for drinks or a hike or something of that nature, and made that, show of courage. We need to get back to that, men. But also, let's say it's accountability. You made the choice of what woman you picked to be your partner. And there's a pressure that I understand for women that guys, um, some of us, I don't think we actually like take the time to understand that women can do something that guys can't. They have babies. And I understand that you have that biological clock, and it's something that guys, that you may feel some pressure to like feel like you need to compromise because maybe time's ticking away. I'll tell you this much. I'm willing to bet, and I'm sure there's some studies that 99% of the time, if you go on a date with a woman, she's figuring out if you're going to be husband material.
Oh, absolutely.
I
So,
guarantee it.
absolutely. Like, no, we're gonna pause for a moment right here, right? Right? Absolutely. Absolutely. And women, I'm calling you out. This is a call out moment in love, right? Dang on well, if you going on a date in the first 15, 20 minutes, the first look that you have of that person, you're trying to see, okay, boom, can this person be at the altar and if you're looking for a family type of environment, right? If you're the type of woman that's looking to be settled down and to marry and stuff like that, you already have this narrative, right? And I'm not saying this because I'm imagining this or pretending. I have tons of female friends that have told me this time and time again, that if they're talking to somebody, this is what they're talking about. And I'm not talking about women that are out here thirsty. I'm talking about doctors. I'm talking about women that have their businesses, their CEOs. They are in the executive. I'm talking about some some women that are gonna shut it down. In their own industry, they carry prominence, essence, and presence, right? So that's who I'm talking about. This is what they're saying. Okay, so I'm just echoing what I've been hearing from my fellow XX counterparts. So he's right. You can deny it all you want. You can either say yeah, or you can put in the comments what you got to say. Then bring it. That's fine. Leave a comment, be respectful, say what you need to say with honor and dignity, and then we'll bring it back here. DM me, but don't be DMing some other stuff, y'all, because I will call you out, right? We'll call you out, right? But let us know. Let us know.
Question for you.
Yes.
So I know guys are always like, I know this whole thing is about, guys getting things off their chest, a little bit better understanding. Where is the great divide between what guys want from a woman and a woman want from a guy? And then where's the commonality where they come together on their wants and needs?
Ah, that is a very good question. And that is a wonderful segue into our next segment about relationships, dating, and intimacy, mind and boundaries, right? So